And welcome back again to the second session of Gurukul. So, as part of our second session, we have with us our speaker, Professor A.K. Bakshi. So, it's our distinct honor to welcome our esteemed chief guest, Professor A.K. Bakshi here. Professor Bakshi is a globally recognized academic and a visionary leader in higher education and e-learning. He is currently serving as the founding Vice President of PDM University, Bahadurgarh, Haryana, and holds the prestigious position of Chairman for the National Resource Centre of Chemistry, NRCC, of the Ministry of Education, Government of India. A distinguished chemist and a highly respected educator, Professor Bakshi previously held the eminent Sir Shankarlal Chair of Chemistry at the University of Delhi for over 20 years. In addition to serving as the head of the chemistry department, his extensive administrative experience includes roles as the Vice Chancellor of UP Rajrishi Tandon Open University and the Executive Director of the Territory Education Commission in Mauritius. A strong advocate for modern teaching methodologies, Professor Bakshi is a leading voice in leveraging information and communication technology to transform education and foster critical thinking skills among students. His work has earned him numerous accolades, including the World Education Award, Haryana Ratan Award, and a Lifetime Achievement Award. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor A.K. Bakshi. And he has his talk. The title of his talk is Quality Science Education in India in the 21st Century, Challenges and Opportunities. Professor Bakshi, stage is all yours.
Just 1 minute. Dignitaries present on the occasion, it's indeed a great honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to deliver this talk. As a matter of fact, when I was approached for delivering this talk, there were many options open to me. But then I thought, as a teacher for a very, very long time in Delhi University, various other institutions at national and international levels, what I think is missing in our science education in the country. So I decided this topic, quality science education in India in the 21st century. See, this is why I am talking about this topic, education system. Therefore, this talk has been designed keeping all that in mind. This is my personal thinking, but I am going to talk to you. This is a talk which is going to be a motivational talk. See, the purpose of this talk is, it is going to be a motivational talk. The purpose is to empower you. Empower you means the teachers of the country as to what are the learning needs of the students and how they can enable them to excel in science in India in the 21st century. This talk is based on my long experience in education, both at national and international levels. See, I also learned it from my experience. I was the topper and record breaker of Delhi University. But when I came to research, I was not initially able to do much. What was the reason? Why we could not come up with so well good quality research? That I realized when I worked with the Japanese Nobel laureate, Professor K. Fukui. There I learned what matters the most. So I am going to share all that with you. And when I talk about excelling in science, please remember, excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see obstacles as opportunities. Please remember, nobody has ever excelled by chance. No, it can never be possible. You need all these qualities. So this is something we have to keep it in our mind. Now, the thinking behind this talk is this. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So this is basically teaching you how to fish. Now the first question which may come to your mind is, what constitutes quality science education in the 21st century? That would be the question. Here we have school teachers, college teachers, many eminent scientists are sitting. But this could be one question. See, education is nothing else but the process of learning. Any type of education, formal, informal, non-formal, ultimately you learn. And we are talking here about formal education. And please remember, education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. This is a very important point. When the needs of the society change, education system must change. Look at our education policies. First education policy came in 1968. Second came in 1986. And now we had it in 2020, the first education policy of the 21st century. And needs of the society have changed. 21st century world is changing very, very fast, mainly because of technological advancements. And what are the changes? Look at this. First thing is, job landscape in the world is changing very, very fast. This is one big change which we are all witnessing. This is the Future of the Jobs Report 2025 published by the World Economic Forum. And this report says that by 2030, 170 million new jobs will be created and 92 million old jobs will be displaced. So this is in itself an indicator of what is going to come ahead. Look at this. Even in science, these are going to be the emerging careers. Artificial intelligence, data science, biotechnology, space technology, and so much. And the skills which are going to be in demand are analytical skills, digital literacy, creativity, interdisciplinary learning. And you know, the jobs which are going to be in demand are these. These are the jobs which are going to be in demand. And these are the jobs which will be very soon displaced. Look at that. Data entry clerks, secretaries, accountants, analysts, mechanics, machine repairers, all these jobs will slowly disappear. So this is one point you have to keep it in mind. And look at this. All those jobs which are going to be of repetitive or predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base, no specialization, all those jobs are going to be in danger, either because of artificial intelligence, robotics, or automation. Look at the picture. Humans will be working along with robots. This is going to be the new scenario in the future. And one more thing which this report says, nearly 40% of the workers' core skills will change. See, core skills are essential skills which everyone should have. And these will be the core skills. Look at that. Analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility, motivation, creative thinking and all that. These are the skills which everyone should have. So, this is a sufficient indicator. What I mean to say is, in today's world, skills are becoming more important than degrees. This we have to understand. Degrees means what? I have studied these subjects. But people don't want that. What they ask is, whatsoever you have studied, based on that, what you can do, tell us that. Skills, which is practical. Knowledge is always theoretical. Look at these big companies. They are now hiring people without degrees. The rules of the game are changing. These companies use some skill-based aptitude tests and psychological profiling while recruiting the people. And this is the very famous Forbes report, which says that skill-based hires, they are outperforming those which are hired on the basis of academic credentials. So, this is a clear message to all of us. What we should focus on. That is why now it is said, future belongs to those who learn more and more skills and combine them in creative ways. You should become a multi-hyphenate person, multi-skilled person. What does it mean? You have to keep on learning throughout your life. Lifelong learning is the need of the hour. So these are the needs of the society, and therefore quality education has to take into account these needs of the society, especially the changing job landscape. And therefore, this is defined as the quality education in the 21st century. This is a very important slide for all of you. We need to focus on all the three things. We need to focus on the knowledge, disciplinary, interdisciplinary and practical. Then you have to focus on 21st century skills and domain specific skills. Domain specific skills, I mean skills specific to your discipline. Chemistry specific, physics specific, geology specific, all that. And then personality, values, attitude, disposition. I'm sorry to say, when I was a student, focus was mainly on knowledge. Nobody bothered much about skills. Nobody even talked about personality traits. But all the three are very important. These are the learning needs of the 21st century. And these three things ultimately will determine your competence. In any profession you may go, your competence will be determined by knowledge part, skill part, and personality. So this one thing you have to remember. And one more thing which I want to say here is, interdisciplinary I want to highlight. See, interdisciplinarity is the need of the hour. Don't teach subjects in isolation. I know in chemistry sometimes, even people say, this is physical chemistry, this is organic, this is inorganic. So I am from physical, I don't know about that. See, these are man-made compartments. Science is a systematic study of reality. For the sake of our convenience, we have divided them into various compartments. Knowledge is holistic. So interdisciplinary becomes very important. And this statement is very important. No real world problem can be solved just with the knowledge of one discipline. No. That is why new education policy talks about multidisciplinary education. You look at one problem through the lens of different disciplines and then try to solve it. For example, sustainable development goals. You have 17 goals. Any goal you may take, you need many disciplines to solve that. And innovation in today's world is no longer confined to single disciplines. It thrives at the intersection of diverse fields. And you know, when two or more fields come together, new solutions emerge, which were once unimaginable. That is how all latest innovation you can think of. Look at these smart watches. What are the disciplines involved? You can see Google Maps. See how many disciplines are involved. Self-driving cars. All these disciplines are involved. Therefore, quality education has to focus on that. Now, the next point which could come to your mind is, which skills are more important? 21st century skills or domain-specific skills? See, both are important. Both are important, but 21st century skills are becoming essential. They will be useful across careers. You may change your profession. For example, I am a chemistry professor, somebody young person. If he goes into civil services, IAS, still 21st century skills will be helpful to him. Chemistry specific skill may not be helpful to them, because they are likely to become outdated also, because the growth of the knowledge is taking place. And these are the 21st century skills. They come under these three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. All these skills need to be cultivated in our students. Learning skills, you have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Under literacy skills, you have information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy. And under life skills, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So taken together, these are 12 skills. These are personal skills. If you have these skills, they will elevate your job performance. You may be in any job. And you know, currently, I am involved also in the NCERT book writing for class 11th and 12th, chemistry books. There we are working on these aspects, focusing on skills, focusing on learning outcomes. The world is changing and you will have to change. And you know, these skills are so important that it is said every student, I won't say every student, I would say everybody in this nation must have these skills. And if our students lack these 21st century skills, their performance will be affected. I remember last year, CSIR approached me. They said that, Dr. Bakshi, we want an article for students which should motivate them. They wanted it on their Children's Day in the month of November. I wrote this article which came as a cover story in Science Reporter. This is 21st century skills for students' future success. You should read, it will be an eye-opener for you as to what are the learning needs in the present times. See, you have to understand as a teacher. So, acquiring competence should be the goal of quality education. And this I am summarizing what I said till now. Quality education needs to focus on three things: knowledge, skills, and personality. All the three things are important. Therefore, you all are science people, teachers. You have to ensure that these three things are cultivated in our students. We are not to miseducate our students. See, you may be taking your classes regularly. You may be very sincere. But then the question comes, are you giving them the right type of education? The education which they need in the present scenario. So don't miseducate your students. And please remember, a child miseducated is a child lost. We cannot afford to lose even a single child. No talent of the country should go waste. Just because we are not able to give them the right type of education, that will not work. You will have to change. And this personality which I was offering, personality doesn't mean looks. Personality means a set of traits and behavior that characterize an individual. And these personality traits actually provide the underlying resilience and drive needed to leverage knowledge and skills. You may be knowledgeable, you may be having all skills, but to leverage them you need the right mindset. Your personality traits matter. So they provide the underlying resilience. Many times people are very knowledgeable, many skilled, but they are not able to do well just because their personality is like that. And the worst part is they don't know that their own personality is coming in the way of their job performance. That is the worst part. And these days we are talking about outcome-based education. See, outcome-based education also is linked with this. You see here, learning outcomes. Now in the new NCERT books, you will find learning outcomes being mentioned. Now what is learning outcome? Learning outcome is the mixture of these three, knowledge, skills and personality trait taken together. They will determine your outcomes. So a new concept which we are now introducing, outcome-based education. Focus will be now not that whether you have finished syllabus or not. No, that nobody will bother. People will ask you whatsoever you have taught, whether the learning outcomes have been achieved in the students or not. Tell me that. So focus is going to be on results rather than the process. And this I was telling you. So this is outcome-based education where teaching, assessment and curriculum are all achieved to achieve those outcomes. This is the reason why outcome-based education is being introduced. Look at that. We should not only produce graduates, we should produce capable graduates. That is the thing. Then learning is more important than teaching. You may use flexible methods. Ultimate test is whether the learning outcomes have been achieved or not. And then assessment should also be basically testing your ability to apply rather than to memorize. We have to, the era of rote learning is over. That is something we have to keep it in mind. So this outcome-based education is the destination. But now the question comes, in the 21st century, what pedagogy you will follow? Pedagogy is the learner-centric pedagogy. This is the new approach. We will have to shift from teacher-centric to learner-centric pedagogy. So now I come to this part, how you can impart. First part I told you what is quality science education. Now the question is how to impart quality science education. That is the second part. So try to understand it. In any education system, three things are very important. what do you teach, how do you teach, and how do you assess the student. All the three things are very important. Now, if you look at curriculum, that may not be entirely in your hands, but now it is agreed that curriculum should be light so that students have more time for thinking. It should be modern because knowledge is growing very, very fast. It should be skill-based. It should be industry-led. These are the common things. The biggest challenge to curriculum is coming from the growth of knowledge. Please remember it. Knowledge in all disciplines is growing very, very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. See, there was a time, please note this statement, there was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. Now, human knowledge is doubling in almost 73 days. Just imagine. So, look at chemistry. What does it mean if knowledge is growing so fast? Your curriculum will become outdated as soon as it is created. Therefore, you should focus only on core essentials, basic fundamentals. They are not going to change. This is one thing you have to keep it in mind. Look at chemistry. Chemistry people produce new substances in the labs. This is the data. Today we have about 80 million substances. And if the growth rate remains the same, by the end of this century we will have 5 billion chemical substances. So exponential growth. Number of elements in the periodic table. Already we have reached 118. So another indicator. Then many new and modern instruments have come. Then many new concepts, theories and ideas are emerging. See, we still teach outdated things. I remember in the year 2005, I was the author of the NCERT chemistry books for 11th and 12th. I introduced quantum mechanics. People were saying, why are you introducing? I said, quantum mechanics came in 1925. It's almost 80 years. And still we are depriving our students of what actually this is. Why? We talk about orbital, we talk about quantum numbers, we talk about electronic configuration, but we never talk about quantum mechanics. That is how it was introduced. See, it may be difficult. See, just because I do not understand a topic very well, it doesn't mean that others should also not understand. That may be my weakness. No subject is difficult. Sometimes we don't comprehend it completely. We don't have the ability to come down to the level of the students and take them along. And now again, this year, new books will be coming. You will see the difference. That is why no many new disciplines, sub-disciplines of chemistry have come. See, what we know in chemistry or in any science subject, physics, botany, zoology, any science subject is merely a drop, and what we do not know is an ocean. This you should remember. Then comes pedagogy. Pedagogy is the most important component because it depends upon the individual teacher. Curriculum may not be in your hand, but pedagogy is in your hand. How you teach in the class. Pedagogy basically means art and science of teaching. What is your lesson, how you plan the lesson, what is your teaching style, what assessments you give, all this comes under pedagogy. We have been for years following, there are two types of pedagogy, teacher-centric and learner-centric. We all have been following teacher-centric pedagogy for a long time. We were also taught by teacher-centric. I also taught for many years in Delhi University as a teacher-centric pedagogy. This teacher-centric pedagogy, talk and talk method you all know, has some limitations. It is teacher-centric, it presumes all students learn in identical fashion, it is mainly a monologue method, then slow and time-consuming, many complex concepts you cannot explain very well, all that. And then you can't solve many problems because there is a constraint of time also. But the worst part in our education system is this, note it down. This methodology focuses more on examination, rote learning and scoring high marks. See, it seems to us, generally students think that the purpose of education is to do well in examination. This is unfortunate. There is a rat race for scoring high marks. So much so that a student's mark sheet has become a prestige sheet for the family, but a pressure sheet for the child. Just think about this. Parents also take pride. My daughter got 99% marks. Is that the knowledge? See, this is the reason why there is a dearth of creative mind in the country. No Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize after 1930 when C.V. Raman got it. One will have to think why. It is almost 95 years. There is a crisis of innovation and creativity in Indian education system. See why I am talking these things to you, because you are all nation builders. You have a big responsibility on your shoulders. And the teachers who are participating in this festival, they are already well known. They have been selected on the basis of merit. So you are already very bright. You need to be told what needs to be done. See, C.V. Raman got this, nobody has got it in chemistry. These people got, but they were non-resident Indians. And look at this. One university in India has not been able to produce one Nobel laureate in the last 95 years. And look at that. Harvard has produced more than 160 Nobel laureates. Look at Cambridge. Look at Columbia. How many Nobel laureates they have produced. I'm not comparing, but I am making you think. See, nobody else will do thinking for us. We have to do introspection where the problem is in our country. That is why our ranking is not that good. And this was reported in Rajya Sabha that best of the science students are going to civil services, IAS examinations. IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay, many of students, they are going to civil services. And they are our brightest students. And this is another report. 99% of the higher educational institutions of the country are not contributing to the country's high quality knowledge creation. 99%. Routine research. Research orientation is missing in our students. And this is what I also realized. I also lacked that research orientation when I went to Germany and worked with the professors. And without research, country cannot progress. Research and development are inseparable. Research creates new knowledge. Teaching separates existing knowledge. Research is teaching is like lightening the lamp. Research is like building the road ahead. You can see which is more important. Why we lack in quality research? It is ultimately to do with our education system. I am also a part of education system. I've spent more than 40 years. I joined Delhi University when I was just 21-year-old. And fundamental drawback is our education system is outdated, still does not encourage thinking, innovation and creativity among students. And please remember, without creativity, there cannot be any progress, and we would be repeating the same thing. That's the problem. You all think about this. What is the solution? This was my article which became very popular. India's future is in innovation. Make education more creative. This was my article in Times of India's Education Times. Creativity crisis in the Indian education system. Because I felt, and I was in the university which was one of the leading universities of the country. That is the reason why our students, school level students, sometimes they are able to apply knowledge. Think, just one example I will give, then I will skip that. For example, we say pH. Most of the students will say minus log concentration of hydrogen ions. Now this should be wrong because hydrogen ion concentration will have some units, moles per liter. And logarithm you can take only of numbers. You cannot take logarithm of a dimensional quantity. You can take logarithm of 100. You cannot take logarithm of 100 grams. So just on this basis, this should be discarded. But students don't think. We don't encourage thinking. Difference between gas and vapor. Here also some problem is there. I don't have the time much. I will skip that. This is the failure. I cannot. Generally people say all positively charged species are electrophiles. See, as a vice chancellor, you have to recruit many people. You ask fundamental question: is it a positively charged? Yes. Is it an electrophile? They will say yes. But that's again their lack of thinking. These positively charged, these red colored are not electrophiles. You have to think. Why only hydrogen bond exists? Very simple, school level question. Why no lithium bond? They have to understand that hydrogen bond is only when hydrogen is attached to a highly electronegative element. Sorry. And hydrogen is one electron system. This is the problem. This is the real thing. Hydrogen is a one electron system, and when it is attached to highly electronegative element, that electronegative element pulls electron towards its side, and on the opposite side, bare nucleus is exposed. That is why it is able to attract another electronegative elements. A thinking, small thinking, but generally students are not able to do that. That is why new books on curiosity have come. They should ask these questions. This I don't have time, but anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to shift to learner-centric pedagogy. This is the future. Anil Shah, Professor Anil Shastra Gube, and others, they have already spoken, but I will just give you an overview. All of you will have to shift to learner-centric pedagogy. The basic thinking is, learning is not the product of teaching, learning is the product of the activity of the learners. You engage the learners. That's the basic thing. And this is the thinking behind learner-centric pedagogy. Students will learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills because they need them to solve the problems at hand. Let them think. Teacher's role is going to change. You will be like a facilitator of learning. Now this is the new role you will have to follow now. And better engagement of the learner will lead to better retention. And under learner-centric pedagogy, there are many methods. Experiential learning is one. But then there are other learner-centric methods, including flipped classroom, which is becoming very popular all over the world. You must follow. I know many college, university teachers who are introducing flipped classroom model in a very big way. IIT Bombay And they say they are going to introduce flipped classroom model in a very big way to revolutionize learning. Experiential learning, you know, it has been told, learning by doing. Don't read, don't listen, do yourself. Look at the retention rate of experiential 75%. Then other methods are these are the new methods you all have to follow. Problem-based learning, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, collaborative learning, gamification, internship. Internship is also like a knowledge in action. It's also a type of experiential learning, because what you study theoretically, you learn how to apply it in real workplace environment. So these are all methods. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't have much time, but these are the futures. Science education has to focus on these methods. This is the pedagogy all of you will have to follow. And then flipped classroom model. Gamification also. Gamification is what? It is the, you know, so many e-learning games have come. You play and you learn. That is the thinking behind gamification. For example, I was just thinking, these are some problems which you can give to your student for problem-based or project-based learning. Look at that. How can we reduce the harmful effects of acid rain on buildings and the environment? You give them as a project. Let them read. Let them think about that. They will learn so much. They will discuss with themselves. So that is a project-based or problem-based learning. One more example. How can we create a plastic bag that is environmentally friendly? They should know that plastics are a source of pollution. Why plastics are a source of pollution, they should know. Why they are not biodegradable, they should understand. What are the alternatives? Let them read. See, the world is changing now. All of you will have to change. Flipped classroom model, very quickly. The thinking behind flipped classroom model is our students should acquire higher order thinking skills. See, look at this slide, this. This is Bloom's taxonomy, revised. Learning is a 6-level hierarchy. It starts from remembering, understanding, application, and goes up to creativity. So learning should focus on all the 6 outcomes. Assessment should also test all the 6 outcomes. In our education system, most of our questions are teaching is generally focusing on remembering, understanding, and application. Beyond that, we do not go. That is why there is a dearth of creative minds. And look at this. Remembering and understanding help you in knowledge acquisition. Applying and analyzing help in knowledge deepening. And upper two lead to knowledge creation. Flipped classroom model, you know, this model was developed by these 2 chemistry teachers of a school in United States. They are school teachers who came out with a flipped classroom model. Why can't you think? And this is what I was telling you, IIT Bombay is going to do that. Flipped classroom model, how does it work? This is the simple, just 1 minute I will spend, you will learn it. You create a video lecture on any topic or concept which you think is very important for the student and share it with them. Let students watch the video lecture at home, 2 times, 3 times, answer your question, and then they come to the classroom where teachers facilitate discussion, answer student questions, and students participate in learning activities. Now, how it is going to be helpful? This is the way. Look at that. In our traditional model, in class we do remembering and understanding. That is how the teacher teaches. And for higher order thinking skills, we give them some activities which they do outside the classroom. That is the traditional model. But in the flipped classroom, outside the class you will do remembering and understanding because you will watch that video lecture. I have prepared so many video lectures on common misconceptions in chemistry. 10 minutes, they explain you everything. Then, higher order thinking skill you do it in the class. Teacher takes the discussion. Now, capability of the teacher is very important. Every teacher will not be able to do. That is why I say teachers need to be trained for that. There should be subject-specific workshops. Biggest challenge of the flipped classroom model, you know what is that? One is that you give a video lecture to the student and they don't watch it. They come to the class without watching. They show no interest. What you will do? That's the problem. Then other is, as a teacher you should be able to develop quality instructional videos and take the discussion to enable students to acquire higher order thinking skills. This is a challenge for the teacher. So ladies and gentlemen, I have given you many learner-centric methods. There could be more also. You can even combine them also for a richer learning experience. There is no doubt about that. Learner-centric pedagogy will boost engagement, critical thinking and personalized learning, fostering 21st century skills and lifelong adaptability for real-world success. See, the purpose of education should be to prepare students for life, solving the problems of life. And in all these learner-centric methods, please note it down, a teacher plays a very important role. That is the facilitator of learning. Wherever students are stuck, you help them, you guide them. Okay, you follow this, you try this, you try this. But doing will be done by them. You have to just guide them. See, in the 21st century, roles of the teachers are going to change. There was a time when teacher was considered to be the only source of knowledge. Not now. Now multiple sources of knowledge are available. Tell me what you teach in the class which students cannot get from any other sources, and perhaps better material they can get. These are the multiple sources which are available. They were never available earlier. Look at them. Online totally changed. And then all of you will also have to become tech savvy. Another advice for you. You may be in any age group, you will have to become tech savvy. It's difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. Technology is after all what? Technology is the application of scientific knowledge to practical use in human life. And scientific knowledge is growing, so technology is evolving. Technology is a journey. Now artificial intelligence is coming. Earlier we had MOOCs. Now smart MOOCs are coming based on artificial intelligence. But please remember, this should be told to the students. Technology is only a tool. Human ingenuity blended with technology can do wonders. Your creativity, your vision and your problem solving ability can truly unlock the potential of technology. So important is you as an individual. This you have to realize. Don't let technology become your master. Don't become the puppet of technology, become the master of technology. This was my article which was very popular among students and teachers. How artificial intelligence is transforming education. Written in a very simple language for the students. This is the cover story. That's why, this is a very famous quote in today's context. If you teach today's students as you taught yesterday's, you are going to rob them of tomorrow. You don't have to do that. This was my article on flipped classroom model in Education Times. This one. This is our research article on educational technology, flipped classroom model. Assessment also will have to change. Just 1 minute I will spend and then I will come to the last part. I think I have 1 hour, so 10-15 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Teachers' creativity is very important. This slide I showed you, again I am showing. We have to focus on higher order thinking skill. See, setting one good question of higher order thinking skill is a challenge. You should try to do that. So I will just skip that. And this is the last part. You have been teaching by teacher-centric pedagogy. Now I am asking you to shift to learner-centric pedagogy. So how you can slowly shift? These are the tips. You have been trained for talk and chalk method. Now you have to shift to learner-centric pedagogy. So how to do that transition? My first advice is change your mindset. In teacher-centric pedagogy, generally the thinking is, I must explain everything very well. Then I will be a very good teacher. Now that mindset is not required. Here, what is required is you must engage the learner. So this is the mindset change. Take small steps. In a 50-minute class, teach for 25 minutes or essential and then involve students in some activity. It's for you to devise. You don't need fancy technology to be learner-centric. Think, pair, share strategy, quick pose, raise hands for yes or no, short written reflection, all these things you can do. Use the board more creatively. All these are small things, but you will have to do that. So ladies and gentlemen, learner-centric pedagogy is not about abandoning what you know. It is about building on it with new methods that make learning more meaningful and joyful for the students. So I close it here, and this was my another article, Redesigning Science Education of India. And now I will just come to the last part. I'm skipping this. I wish I could have covered, but then. So, thanks for your patience. These are some of our articles about chemistry. This is about chemistry education in the 21st century. This is kind of a talk stage regime. This is him. All our work. This is my editorial on the world of e-learning in Times of India. Then why the Indian education using ICT creatively. So we keep on conducting many activities. So thanks for your patience. This is my cell number. This is my email ID.